Hello everyone, we are from group NoriskNoGain. So today we will present for FNN Holding Berhad. So this is our group members, Mi Ho Chen Hui, Nien, Celine, Neave, and Li Wei Wing.
Now I will present the introduction. FNN is a well-known food and beverage company in Southeast Asia. Founded in 1883, the company has over 100 years of experience in the industry. FNN produces a wide range of products including dairy products, soft drink and beverage. The company operates mainly in Malaysia, Thailand and Indochina, and its brands are widely recognized by consumers.
The corporate governance pledge of accountability pledge. First point is board accountability because this have ensure the board act in the best interest of all shareholders and provide effective oversight of management. Because the way food is highlight pledge of the board code governor rule. And second point is limited accountability to minority shareholder because this point useful because that emphasize unfair treatment and governance imbalance. The corporate governance ledger for transparency ledger is integrated disclosure practice because this point useful they have a transparency is essential for investor confidence and informed decision making. And second point is information asymmetry. This point is useful because they explain how power imbalance create unfair advantages. For the corporate governance pledge of ethics and corporate culture pledge, first point is shareholder centric rather than stakeholder oriented culture. Because this culture is useful because they highlight risk to long-term sustainability. And next point is where ethical thought at the top because this point useful that have a support argument that governance pledges stem from leadership culture. And for corporate governance pledge of compliance and oversight pledge, first point is formal compliance without strong oversight because this point is useful that highlight differences between the firm compliance and effective governance. And the second point is ineffective independent of board committee. This point is useful because they have a demonstrated pleasure to meet the spirit of Bursa Malaysia governance framework.
Overall, FNN use a clear and practical risk response. The company mainly focus on risk reduction, support by risk acceptance and risk transfer. First, risk reduction was the main approach. After the crisis, FNN strengthened its risk management and internal control. The company increased food safety and halal standards, increased use of certifications such as FSSC 22000 and carried out regular checks and audits. This action helps reduce operations, compliance, and reputation risks while allowing the company to continue its food and beverage operations smoothly. Second, FNN applies risk acceptance for risks that cannot be avoided. This includes changes in commodities price, foreign exchange rate, and economic conditions. Instead of trying to remove these risks, FNN accepted them within safe limits and managed them through regular monitoring and financial controls. This helped ensure that these risks did not affect the company's financial stability. And third, risk transfer was used in a limited way. Some risks are shared with suppliers and external parties through suppliers' rules, third-party certifications, and external audits. However, FNN is still keeps control over its main business risks. So the impacts of the risk response was positive financially. So for financial impacts, the company achieved more stable operations and better cost control. So for legals, stronger control reduced the risk of breaking regulations and facing penalties. And reputationally, the focus on product safety and sustainability increase trust and protects F&N brand image.
This slide explains the priority first responses that FNS should take at the corporate and strategic levels. At the corporate level, the first response is to strengthen board-level risk awareness. This includes identifying early warning signs, allowing the board to challenge management decisions. Second, accountabilities and escalation responsibilities must be clearly defined so that governance and compliance risks are reported early. Moreover, ethical and ESG risks should be integrated into corporate strategy to reduce reputational risk and improve stakeholder trust. At the strategic level, business unit managers should take ownership of identifying and managing risks in their daily operation. Our risk
This framework for monitoring, controlling, and reporting for FNN Berhad.
Without management, finally, early culture and behavioral risks should be conducted to detect ethical weaknesses.
This slide explains the monitoring and control framework, its weakness, and the recommendation for improvement. Currently, the company uses risk identification and assessment, KPIs, and corporate risk scorecard. Risks are monitored at both management and board level through the Audit and Risk Management Committee, and the framework mainly focuses on operational risks such as cybersecurity, supply chains, and regulatory compliance. However, there are some weaknesses where KPI focus mainly on financial and operational risk with limited monitoring of governance, ethics, and transparency. This framework also rely heavily on self-reporting and periodic audit, and there also lack of clear action when risks escalate. Therefore, several key recommendations are proposed. Companies should expand KPI to include governance risks such as whistleblowing cases, related party transaction, and compliance breaches. The Audit and Risk Management Committee should play a stronger role by challenging management decisions and requesting independent review. Lastly, expanding a scenario analysis to cover regulatory investigation and reputational crisis to help company fast respond and more efficiency. Overall, this improvement will strengthen oversight and enhance risk response. This slide shows the review and reporting process of the company risk management framework. Currently, risks are reviewed by the Audit and Risk Management Committee at the management level and then reported to the board. The board reviews the risk appetite and risk tolerance annually, and risk information is disclosed through the annual and sustainability report. The strength of this framework is that it has formal structure and clear reporting line. However, there are several weaknesses where risk reporting is too general and mostly historical. Important information is missing, such as how close risks are to tolerance limit, risk trend, and early warning signal. As a result, the board may find it difficult to prioritize urgent risks, and stakeholders have limited risk visibility. Therefore, it is recommended that the company conduct a quarterly risk review meeting at the management level, link board level risk review more closely to strategy, and improve external risk disclosure by clearly explaining how risks are monitored and managed. This improvement will lead to better transparency, stronger governance, and higher stakeholder confidence.
The conclusion: the global commodity price volatility, supply chain disturbances, and environmental shock like a sharp alarm fraud were major crisis factors that FNN Holding Berhad had to deal with during the 2023 and 2024 crisis period. Despite the fact that the company was able to adhere to the former regulator requirements, the weaknesses were found in terms of both accountability, transparency, and ethical leadership and effectiveness of oversight, which hindered its capacity in detecting and responding to any emerging risks and events. The post-crisis response in FNN, where primary risk reduction and risk acceptance measurement aimed at business continuity, planning, hedging, insurance cover, and enterprise risk management activity, which assisted in ensuring finance stability and resilience in cooperation. Nonetheless, the lack of disclosure of the risk tolerance level and reputation risk strategy decreased the level of visibility and trust of the stakeholder. In general, the case points to the significance of promoting excellent cooperation, government, and active risk management to improve long-term business sustainability and benefit the stakeholders. Thank you.